1 in 5 suffer.
Erase the stigma.
Brain difference is not a crime.
Mental health isn't just your problem.
It's our problem.
And now, Mental Health Mondays with Marla and Dave.
Welcome to Mental Health Mondays. As usual, for a lifetime, actually, I'm still Marla.
Do you really need this? And I'm Dave. Man, let's get to it.
Let's try it organic.
Okay.
Hey, one more time, okay?
Welcome to Mental Health Mondays with Marla and Dave. I'm Dave.
And I'm Marla.
There you go. Well, we want to remind you guys to text the word G-I-V-E, give, to 818-698-1021 and support our A Dollar Today Keeps the Stigma Away campaign. Okay, you guys, this is what you've been waiting on. He's an extraordinary bass player, music director, composer, producer, and he's an author. His book is called There's No Traffic on the Extra Mile. He was the musical director and band leader on The Tonight Show with Jay Leno. He was the musical director for American Idol. And a host of really famous celebrities that I'm sure you know: Whitney Houston, Christina Aguilera, Ray Charles, Alicia Keys, Beyoncé.
Wow, what a breath!
Yeah, and he has been nominated how many times for
12
Emmys? 12 Emmys. He has 2 Emmys. He is a producer extraordinaire. But
NAACP Image Awards,
Absolutely.
Grammy Awards, Super Bowl. What the other day I said, if I had to really stay on this live, I got to get off, because if I had to talk about Ricky's accomplishments, I'd be on here literally for a day.
Our guest is Rickey Minor, and the attribute that we love most is he is our friend. Stick around, put your seatbelts on, we're in for a great conversation. Be right back.
Mental Health Mondays with Marla and Dave and NAMI San Fernando Valley believe it doesn't take much to make life a little better for our neighbors, coworkers, friends, our family members, even our children who suffer with mental illness. When you support our A Dollar Today Keeps the Stigma Away campaign, you are doing your part to erase the stigma surrounding mental illness. For just $1 today, or $1 a day for 1 week, just $7, we can look forward to a future that does not include the unfortunate and uncomfortable stares, bullying, and the subsequent isolation that our loved ones who suffer with brain differences deal with. Text the word GIVE, that's G-I-V-E, to 818-698-1021 to donate. A dollar today keeps the stigma away. Brought to you by Mental Health Mondays with Marla and Dave and NAMI San Fernando Valley.
Rickey Minor, welcome to Mental Health Mondays.
Hey, what's going on, man? Let's talk about it. Let's get to it.
First of all, Rickey, David said it's so funny because I don't know how many people, everybody knows you for your music excellence. You're a personality as well.
Indeed.
But do they know how funny you are just to hang out with?
No,
shall we organize a hang?
Yeah, no, I'm really funny. I mean, and a lot of people didn't know during COVID, or at least the bigger part of it, that like behind that mask, like I'm really good looking.
Now you can let it out.
Yeah,
see?
So now
you can let it out.
So you used Dorsey the mask reveal for charm. Everybody else, I was trying to think of what I could get away with. Like now nobody can see me. If I can just take these groceries and walk out never mind.
Now we were just talking before the show started, and we tried to remember when we first met. It was in 1989.
1989.
Yeah,
wow.
We were both on the road with Al Jarreau.
Yeah, you guys came on, I think, was that your first show at the Shoreline?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
Because you guys were already on the road,
yeah,
right?
we were already on tour. Now it's like, well, do they need a band? And later on, I did end up working with you guys. So
that's right.
Yeah,
you got to put.
Right.
That's the key. You got to put it out there. See?
There you go.
Spread love.
We go way back, and you know what? Even back then, everybody in that band became we were like a family.
I was going to say that clearly I wasn't on the road, but you made such an impact that our families ended up coming together, and we became friends in real life. To be honest, shout out to Layla. That's what Layla and I say. Your people don't call my people. We just show up at each other's houses. There's no people.
Yeah.
And you're on that very short list for us. So we appreciate that. But today, I was talking about you, Rickey, and one of the things that I said is, you'd be surprised that behind the lives of people we admire are stories we need to hear. And you definitely fall into that category. And we were on the phone, and I think you were talking to Dave in the car about music, and you and I branched off, and we got into a conversation that was actually kind of serious and organic and deep, but it was just about the mental health and our families and, generational situations, episodes, and then the lessons that you've learned. Mm-hmm. So we invited you to come in so you could share some of that same information, conversation, and wisdom with all of our listeners and viewers.
Let's get it.
All right, so like Marla said, you mentioned things that you grew up in your family experiencing and how sometimes that could be traumatizing. Talk to us about growing up as young Rickey Minor.
Yeah, well, I think that, for especially in the Black culture, there's a lot of pain as we reflect on our ancestors and how we got here in the trauma of slavery.
Being born black, can we say that?
Yeah, well,
in America, maybe.
Yeah, you can say that and more.
Yeah,
because it's not just black. I mean, because I want to make sure that I'm clear that this happens in a lot of families where there's a lot of incest and rape and fathers having babies by their daughters.
Just trauma.
Yeah, just trauma. A lot of trauma. So it's not relegated to us, but I can speak on our experience. I can't speak on the other experience because I don't know it.
Because that's yours, right?
Yeah, but on my side of it, when you look at, you don't, as a young child, you don't really see it all. You see everything kind of in black and white. This is that.
Right. It's just your family. It's just what it is.
But then you start looking, and I didn't really notice that my siblings were the complexion of, say, Denzel Washington, but yet I'm not.
Yeah.
Right.
So all I knew is that I'm me, But I think that the going back and visiting and to Louisiana, which I only went back a few times. We moved out when I was about 8 years old. So, at 8, all I cared about was dancing.
Right.
Yeah.
And,
just having fun.
Yeah, just 8 years old. But we moved out to California, and it's a different energy because, where we lived, it was all black neighborhood across the street from a Catholic school where all, in the South, all the kids went to Catholic school.
Yeah.
And so I just remember going to church there and walking across the street. But you start kind of trying to put things together. And, excuse me, and I think that it's hard for the adults, too. And I think that we think that, well, adults are strong. They're the leaders. They're going to feed us. They're going to clothe us, and they're going to tell us right from wrong. And
but they're struggling with their own traumas and their own issues.
And so a lot of things are not talked about.
So I was going to say, do you think inadvertently those things that they struggle with, even though they don't talk about it, it gets passed down in other ways and behavioral ways that that the kids experience?
Absolutely. I think that adults do the best they can, and it's not anyone trying to hurt you, but they're trying to deal with their own trauma.
Yeah.
So, one of the things I talked about is that, my father, and again, I have no real proof because so much time has passed.
Yeah.
But my father was one of the priests at the Catholic school.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and I found out about this. I was married already.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm talking to my I was having a conversation
with a sibling?
No, I was having a conversation with my grandfather.
Okay.
And I would come back and check on him on tour. I would go through the town. He said, let's go get something to eat. And he was like a really funny guy. So he said, we get in the car, and he said, follow that car. Follow that truck. He would never say make a right or left.
Right.
That was his way of telling me which way to go.
Exactly,
Follow that. And so we get out of the car, and he says, he had a cane. And I said, Daddy, when did you start using a cane? He said, when I discovered 3 legs better than 2.
Hilarious.
And then, so we go into this diner or whatever, and we're sitting down, and he goes, look at him.
Who's them?
I'm ready. I'm ready. Okay, look at who. He says, look at him, looking at me going, what's he doing with that white boy? I said, who you talking about? He says, boy, you know Father Arden, your daddy.
Wow.
I was
and you didn't even know?
No, but I was an Altar Boy fan. But I mean, I'm 27 at this time, or somewhere around there. I mean,
wow.
But I never talked about it. I remember asking my mom once about it.
Right.
When I was probably 12, maybe somewhere around there, and she said that it was a guy that she dated, during Christmas time, who came to visit his family, and they had a little fling, and that was it.
There you were.
Yeah.
And of course he went back to his family, and I said, well, did he ever know? Did you ever tell him? She says, no, I didn't. And so there's two sides to it. And again, trauma I'm not saying that she's lying to protect him. Maybe that's how she remember it, or maybe that's what is actually true.
Right.
So
Yeah.
there's two sides. Either way, she was 17 when she got pregnant with me,
Right.
and 16 with my sister.
Right.
Wow.
25 years old, 5 kids.
Wow.
Well, the one thing I want to say is this, and I think that what Ricky's bringing up, and I will remind, one of the ways that we deal with trauma that continues to foster generational issues is we don't deal with it. Right. And that's what you're really saying. Yeah. So, people think that, what does it mean to deal with it? I think because it is trauma, a lot of people bury it, especially when there's no outlet, which is what we're trying to literally erase the stigmas, because we're 2 times, this is statistics, 2 times more likely to be affected by mental health challenges, and less than 1% willing to be either diagnosed and or treated in the Black community. Yeah. That's real. Yeah. And so I'm hearing you talk, and it's like, man, how did you feel waking up to some of these realities for you? And here's a 2-part question. Did you use any of that, and you're going to answer this when we come back from this break, did you use any of that as fuel to the craft that you are brilliant at?
That's a really good question.
So, so that's what I'm going to ask you as we go to break. Don't worry. By the time this is over, you'll be crying. We'll be back.
It's time for the Mental Health Minute with Marla and Dave.
Early intervention is defined as the earliest possible moment that behavioral health professionals and community members can provide support and treatment to youth experiencing mental illness. It comes after prevention and before long-term care, and is often associated with adolescent youth and young adults between the ages of 10 and 25 years old.
According to the Partnership Development Group, early interventions are often difficult due to the lack of diagnosis and proper education, denial of diagnosis and or treatment, lack of resources, and a lack of community support. However, getting treatment earlier in one's mental health journey decreases symptoms and establishes positive habits.
Earlier intervention is proven to result in fewer hospital admissions, shorter inpatient care, more rapid and complete recovery, decreased risk of relapse, and less treatment resistance.
If your child shows signs that psychological intervention might be necessary, please start early. Give your child the best opportunity to succeed. This message is brought to you by Mental Health Mondays with Marla and Dave.
I never do anything without thinking about it first.
Marla is a feeler.
I basically live my personality on my sleeve.
But when Marla and Dave get together,
It's like a match dancing with a firecracker.
All right, now Marla asked you a question right
asked a
before we went to break.
two-part
It was a
question.
two-parter, but it was a great question. Can you repeat the question
Yes,
one time for us?
The question is, when did you wake up to some of these traumas in your own life, and did your life fuel your brilliance when it came to
And
you
your push
pouring
for
yourself
success.
into your craft?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that everyone has a story, and I think that in that sense there are things that are bright and some things that are dark, and dim, I looked at what can I do to change the circumstance. So I didn't look to anyone else in terms of holding anyone in my family accountable, responsible for it, because you are responsible for you. You're responsible for your health and your mental health especially. But there's such a stigma, especially in the Black community, that, well, what if they find out, then people are going to start saying he crazy.
Right.
But boy, crazy, he taking pills and stuff, he talking to people. And then I was working with a good friend of ours, James Ingram, and I said, I got to work through some stuff. And he said, so what are you going to do? I said, I'm going to a therapist. He said, therapist. The rapist.
Wow.
Therapist.
Wow. Which really just shows the type of stigma in our community.
Rapist.
Wow.
Yeah. So they're going to take all of and all your thoughts and really just pull all the layers back. They're going to, all the hurt feelings just going to pour out all over the place. And then
so that level of vulnerability he was comparing to, wow, that's pretty deep.
The rapist. So, but I said to him, I said, I look at it differently. And he said, well, what do you mean? I said, well, here's the thing. The power is in letting go. It's not in holding on. You're not hurting anyone by holding on to things that aren't good, that you need to get through. I mean, holding on to hurt, pain, anger. Well, watch yourself. You said that too fast. Hold on. Yeah, I mean, so you have to let it go. And I think that what I learned through therapy was, like with my family, I mean, I said to each of them, I call them individually, I'm giving you back you. So I'm no longer going to be, and I had this thing, I even said in the book, I had this thing called the disease to please. I wanted to make sure everyone was whole, even if it took a lot out of me, or just laid me on the ground.
Completely out.
Yeah, just crying, just no energy left, just like wasted. And, with just tired. And I remember, I had family members call about this problem or this happened. And advice is what you ask when you already know the answer, but wish you didn't. So you're calling me to ask, should I,
That's a good one, Ricky.
That's a nugget right there.
That is a nugget.
Should I go to Vegas, because I've been working hard and stuff, and I could pay my rent later. Like I could skip this month and pay next month, right?
Right.
Like,
you know the answer.
Right. I'm like, no, you're crazy. All right, bye. Call the next person. I've been working. I'm going to keep calling somebody.
Somebody says, I need to get it. Go to Vegas.
Yeah. and then when they get evicted, well, you told me.
Exactly. It's your fault.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. So I mean, but I think that this thing of,
that's a good one.
You can't pour from an empty cup. So you have to take care of you first. That's what they tell you. Put the mask on. They don't say, put everybody's mask on first.
And then do yours last, right?
No.
Yeah. Well, we call that healthy boundaries.
Yeah.
You know what? It's knowing your own limitations for your own, because the healthy boundaries are there to take care of yourself.
Well,
take care
and that's clear. When
mental wellness.
When I say that I love you, I hear you, but I'm not qualified to help you. There are people that can help you.
Absolutely.
I can't take on I'm not the one that's going to tell you, do this, or how to reframe this situation, because you're angry about something that you thought someone said, because you heard that someone said that someone said that someone said.
Right.
Yeah.
And so you're carrying on all this anger, and it's like, I mean, carrying on anger like that is like drinking poison but waiting for the other person to die. And it's just not going to happen.
And I say it's like putting some dog doo-doo in a bag just to carry it around, just to throw it at your neighbor when you finally see him. In the meantime, you got a stinky bag of stuff that you're carrying around the whole time.
Yeah.
Right.
Let it go.
Yeah,
let it go.
For sure. So here's the other thing. So was therapy instrumental for you? Because the one thing I hear with therapy, when I hear what you're talking about, which is so, apropos, I think that you can answer this. What did the therapy help to prepare you to be able to take that stand and stop emptying out your whole cup? Was that because it's hard? That's the hard part for most of us.
Yeah, I think if for everyone, it comes at a different pace for every single person and at a different time in life. Mm-hmm. Mine, I didn't have therapy until when Whitney died. Then, and that was 2012. I thought, look, I'm good, and it wasn't that I didn't want to have therapy, but I managed to, with the balance of music, which is, as we know, is
a way to emote.
Is a healer.
It's therapeutic in itself.
And so the vibration is one of the highest vibrations on the planet. So you want to change your mood, put a song that'll take you there.
Put on some Earth, Wind and Fire.
Yeah. Or you want to change. or you want to change your mood, and you want to play some a beautiful ballad that will touch your heart. And you want to feel.
Yeah.
You find music that will help you to feel.
It's true.
And generate those feelings of letting go of pain or hurt or what those things. So for me, I think that I always loved music. I mean, and I was a lot of people don't even know probably that, but I was a math major, and I got a full scholarship to UCLA.
It doesn't shock me because it's the same side of the brain.
Yeah. So I was, that was my thing, numbers. So at around, with music, I always loved the way it made me feel. I loved dancing to it.
Right.
And so when we moved to California from Louisiana, I was about 8 or 9, and I just loved music. And then I started joining these little talent shows, and then we had a little group trying to be like Jackson 5, and we did the whole thing. And we won the contest, and it was $5 each. I was like, holla, call me.
He said holla.
Yeah. I was like, hey, somebody about
lunch
to get
is on me.
Somebody gonna get lucky for lunch. Indeed.
So you were saying that you decided that it was time for therapy after trying to deal with the passing of Whitney.
Was it trying to manage the passing of Whitney, or was it just her passing?
Was the last
woke
straw
something up for you that said, I need to get some outside help here?
Well, I think that we will find any excuse. So if I'm too busy, I don't have time. It wasn't so much the stigma, but I didn't understand what therapy could do. Wow. I knew it could help, but I didn't understand of the power and how much is needed in order to move forward in life. Yeah. And let go of all these things. And then the whole world just opens up, and you're free to be and not be. And my biggest problem was feeling responsible for everyone, and that means, like Whitney had a response. She felt, there that if she didn't work, then a lot of families didn't eat. That's a huge
she was in industry.
Exactly,
literally in industry.
So that kind of pressure that you take on, and no one necessarily puts that on you. You take it on.
Right.
You feel like
you agree.
I have to keep working in order for everyone to be okay. And I felt the same way in terms of my friends, family. I had to employ enough people and their families, and so everyone that works with me, be it band, orchestra, singers, whatever. Yeah. I took on that I have to push excellence so that they are excellent. Right. And it's my job to be excellent. And then even when I don't feel like it, I've got to motivate everyone in the entire group. And not only the band, but the crew, the techs, everyone needs to feel that love. And it needs to be real. Everyone can smell a rat. It's like, I just want to get what I want to get.
Facts on what that statement.
You are one of the best at doing it, because after working with you for so many years, everybody on any set that you have ever been on feels like they are part of your family.
Yeah, I mean it.
Yeah, for real.
That's real talk.
Wow.
Okay, wow. We're not even, we've scratched the surface, but we still have a lot of itching left that Ricky is going to have to continue to fix for us.
Okay.
Yeah, keep
Don't move.
Scratch us, Ricky.
Regardless of what Marla just said, we'll be right back.
No.
All right, Marla.
Embarrassing.
In honor of Ricky.
I don't want to dance in front
honor
of Ricky.
I
don't want to.
Give us a pole dance.
Okay,
kind of. It's a little lackluster. Oh, now she's getting it. All right, so that music lets us know it's time for the poll question. Marla, do you have? Well, I'll do it myself this week. Last week we asked the question: if your diet regularly includes highly processed, fried, and sugary food or drink, how much higher is your risk of developing depression? 35%, 48%, or 60%. Again, if your diet regularly includes processed foods, sugary drinks, and food or drink, and fried foods, how much higher is your risk of depression? 35%, 48%, or 60%?
60.
Marla, first of all, before we reveal the answer, did our guest last week get the answer right?
Frank.
All right. Frank, yes. Frank has been going batting 1,000 lately.
Frank is
ding, ding, ding.
Yeah.
Both Frank and Ricky are absolutely correct.
Well, Ricky told you that he's, aside from being magnificent with music, he's a numbers guy.
That's right.
If he didn't get that, I was going to have to smack him.
Wow. Numbers guy.
Can
All
I try it again?
mathematicians. I'll take that spanking, please. Marla, what's the poll question for next week?
Spanking for 60.
I'll take spanking for 10.
I can't
Thank you,
stop
Dave.
it. What percentage of young people ages 6 through 17 experience a mental health disorder each year? 8%, 12%, or 17%? I'm going to ask you guys. Okay, go ahead. If you remember.
17.
Okay, now
Well,
Ricky.
we can't reveal this answer
You have
this
to
week.
You've got to. It's all good. Hang in there, sweetie.
Well, he's going to be with us next week
Ricky,
anyway.
we got 2
so
episodes
absolutely.
with Ricky, so that's amazing because we're excited about that. So he will get to understand his own success or failure.
Yes. Remember to text the word give. Remember to text the word give, GIVE, to 818-698-1021. $1 today keeps the stigma away. Back to the show. All right, we are back with our conversation with Rickey Minor. Man, we're having too much fun. And you know what the cool thing about it is? We're talking about a heavy subject matter, but there's a little bit of just the reprise of having some levity with that as well. We can take it easy. We can laugh through it all, through the pain, and we can still smile about it because now that we're on the other side.
Well, can I just say this? The thing that Ricky is really expressing, in my opinion, is life.
Yeah.
And so what you've done, even for me, because it's always an exchange, because I'm in this mode right now where I'm trying to figure out how to free myself. And it's crazy because I tattooed on my arm, it says free to be me. And I literally did it on the inside of my arm, my arms of inspiration. This one says this too shall pass. And yet and still, I'm finding myself not reading and or following that and still falling into it. I'm trying to climb out of this hole, but listening to you and just knowing you through so many years and watching how you've managed and then hearing the thoughts behind that management is a blessing for me. So I want to say thank you for that. And for sure.
You get my bill. That's all right.
Not paying it, Ricky. I'm not paying it.
You never did.
I'm not gonna
Still
do it.
waiting.
Yeah, we're good.
No, so that you're saying, just figuring that out and figuring how you're going to be your best effective you by taking these steps is something that, I'll be rewatching this myself because that's huge.
Yeah. Well, I think, I always say the best version of you, and when I work with kids in school or even clients, the best version of you is good enough.
Yeah.
The average version of you sucks.
Wow.
So you choose who you're going to be each moment all through the day. Be the best version. And I've had clients who are concerned about hitting this note or doing this run or making sure that their performance is excellent because that's what they've pushed their career to. People expect excellence, and when people expect things from you, you have this pressure inside to deliver. And so I had several clients, but one client in particular who said, I've done this arrangement, it's not working, and this is a big moment for a friend, and I just, I had this idea and it didn't work, and the thing is tomorrow, and where are you? Could you come down and help me?
Wow.
And so I scrapped what they had, and I simplified it, and then I said, here's the key. I need 2 things. I need trust, that you trust that not only in what I'm telling you is right, but that you trust that it's right for you.
Wow.
And truth. Sing your truth. You can't mess it up. You can't, even if you tried. Sing from a deeper place, not from your head, from your heart, and you're good.
Don't try, just do it.
Just do it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. And I think I think that's something that is simple and common, but we don't go there first.
Yeah.
Because the things that, and I said, these are the 3 things that you need to get rid of when you feel this moment: doubt,
wow,
worry, and fear.
Wow. Well, you know, Ricky, as
Ricky
usually
has donated
happens,
so much of his. Ricky has donated
nuggets
so
of
much
gold,
no,
diamond dust, just dropping throughout the.
I'm reading. Ricky has donated so much of himself to others I have personally witnessed.
Wow, that's amazing. So, Ricky, we're out of time for this week. You're going to be with us next week. We're going to continue the discussion and air it next week.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
He'll be here.
No, we locked the door.
No, where's the cash bag? No, you said there's a big cash bag.
First of all, you know why Ricky's coming back? Because was Ricky's answer 17%?
Ooh.
I guess we'll have to see.
So before we go, Ricky, you said with mental illness, sometimes, you know, people feel that there's no way out.
Yeah.
Talk to us about that.
You know, when you are relying on all the things that you know, it's hard to understand that you know what you know, and then there's everything else. It's not the reverse. You don't know everything, and there's a couple of things you need to learn.
Right.
You know what you know, and that's good.
Right.
Take that and build on it.
Wow.
Build on it.
Wow. Rickey Minor, y'all.
Wow.
Ricky, man.
Ricky the prophet, Ricky the MD.
He had no idea. He was
Ricky
the
bassist?
sage.
What the hell?
Adding to the list.
Who is this Ricky that showed up in our studio?
Our guest has been and will be for the next week as well, Rickey Minor, the great Rickey Minor. You all know him. You all love him. Now, you, like Marla said.
No, that was a paid commercial. Thank you very much.
We'll see you with more Ricky next week.
See you guys next week.